case. You just gotta talk about it in your newsroom about whether something becomes part of your story or changes the story. And it's a total judgment call, and there's no exact right answers. I will give you guys this example that happened to me. This was our congressman. I'm not going to read these words to you, but you can read them.
Oh, wow.
This was our congressman in South Texas, and we knew about this before he got elected. We knew about this in the campaign, and we talked a lot about it, and we chose not to run anything because we had to ask him about it. Why do you own this website? And it turns out he owned a lot of different businesses, and one of them, he just like bought website like domain names and was a squatter, and he would sell them, you know? So he wasn't actually running a porn site or anything, and so we were like, okay, it's his business, whatever. And we didn't write it, and I don't know if it would have changed anything, but knowing what I know about him now, I think it was a red flag. He was the congressman who actually got sued for sexual harassment by one of his employees, and he paid the settlement out of tax money, promised he would pay it back, and didn't, and had to resign in disgrace. You know, there were some red flags. We'll look at some other red flags about him too. But yeah, did you have a question? It's a discussion. But the worst scenario is that you don't know about it at all, right? You want to know all that stuff and at least have the conversation and make a newsroom decision about it, an informed decision at least. So yeah, so it's a great point. So now we talk about some of the deeper, darker corners of the web and some of the bad actors that could be there. The whole point of this, and you guys know this, is that people lie all the time, and they will lie to your face, even when you know who they are. But when they're on the internet, they will make up basically anything, including fake personas. This is just a slide showing all of the different tools that you can fake a social media post or text messages or whatever. So be careful about the stuff that people give you. You can totally fake a text conversation with someone. Don't ever take that as gospel without verifying. The Russian trolls are like, you know, the biggest, most prominent example of this kind of thing. And we tend to think of it as like, oh, they were swaying the election and that's what they were interested in. Not only the Russians, but other trolls and actors and troll factories actually get involved in local events too and amplify things that are happening in communities. Do you guys remember, this is where we're based at Mizzou, at University of Missouri. After the Ferguson protests, there were protests at the University of Missouri based on like racial discrimination incidents that happened. And some of them really happened, like there are issues there. But a study just came out actually a few months ago, so it took several years for people to figure this out, that so much of what was happening on Twitter was like trolls were retweeting, they were amplifying, and they made some stuff up too, to just inflame these protests of this local news in Columbia, Missouri, which is just horrifying, right? And it's so easy to be like, this, you know, on Twitter, this person said that this thing happened and this is going on, but God, you gotta be so careful about what people are saying online. This one is after Parkland. So much of this happens after breaking news events, and that's a lot of times when we're digging into social media. And one of the Miami Herald reporters, they kind of cloned her Twitter account and made it look exactly like her, like used her photo and a very similar name. And they were harassing some of the students online to make it look like this reporter was a total jerk, when she was not. They also made up some fake Miami Herald stories. We'll look at some more terrible examples in a minute, but it's scary out there and pretty terrifying what people will try to do to influence the media and influence the narrative. So anytime you're digging into social media or people's emails that they send you or anything, think critically about every piece of information that you have about them. So Like on their social media accounts, when was the account created? Is it brand new, or does it look like they have an actual history and they look like they're a real person? How many friends and followers do they have? Do they have real conversations like you have with your friends? Or do they only just retweet things? Do they only use the hashtag of the day all the time, right? Those are clues that they could be not a real person. Do they have a real profile photo? Or are they like, you guys know the fake ones, right? They're like screaming eagle in front of the flag and like, I'm a patriot or whatever. Or it's like the generic egg on Twitter, or it's a model, it's a stock photo. We're gonna learn how to test the photos. Does their name contain numbers or symbols? This is how researchers actually tracked a lot of the Russian trolls after the election. They all had a 9-digit number in their name. It was like, yes, like this bot factory just like generated a bunch of names and put 9-digit numbers in it. And it was super easy. I think they've become more sophisticated, but still, any random numbers or symbols are a bad sign. And then, like, especially in the breaking news type of situation, try to verify, are other people saying the same kinds of things in the area? Like if there's a big incident, other people are talking about it. So we'll look for, we'll talk about some, we'll do this hands-on, but this is actually, this is one of my Twitter followers. This is a real screenshot, I should say. I don't think that is a real person. But this guy followed me a few months ago, and I was like, yes, perfect example. What are the red flags you guys see in this?
All the numbers?
Yeah, all the numbers. Is that 9 digits? I think 8 digits.
Just the numbers.
Yeah, like, it's just like they make up a name and you just put a bunch of random numbers because that won't be taken. And there could be like a whole bunch of different like Wang Weis out there with a million different numbers for all I know, and it's like the same person doing all this. I don't know.
So he's only tweeted twice, right?
Yeah.
So what's his purpose?
Yeah, I don't know. Why is this guy even following me? I don't know. I'm not even interesting. On Twitter. But here's all the red flags I saw. He joined, this was actually in June, and he had just joined, but that's still pretty recent. All the numbers in his name, he has tweeted twice, and then just like, his very first tweet is just like a hashtag. Like, what is even, who is this person? I don't know. I've never actually messaged him or interacted with him. I try not to. Never tweet. So, find the actual person, right? If you're trying to think about what's happening online and verify something that someone says, find the actual person. Or if someone, this is a question we were just talking about over here at this table, is what if they send you an email? It's an anonymous email. That's super hard. If you're trying to verify something that someone says online, or even in an email, any clue you have, try to just Google it. Like, if you have a handle or the first part of their email, just try to Google it and see what it turns out. Like maybe they use that somewhere else that's in a public sphere that you can try to find a history with. You can run it through some of these people finders if you can try to find a name. But try to just interact with them too, right? Like if you're trying to verify, see if it's an actual person and if they will talk to you. And if they will not talk to you, I mean, obviously sometimes in the case of like a big breaking news event, sometimes they're traumatized, and you have to be, or it's a victim, or they've witnessed something, you have to be sensitive to that. But like if Wang Wei will not talk to me, he refuses to talk to me or interact with me, like I know he's not a real person. So use your intuition on that kind of stuff. Also, if someone sends you an email, or if they send you an article or something that they're trying to cite, check the URL or check the email super, super carefully. This is also, I know we get phishing attempts at IRE, and you guys probably do at your jobs. You guys know what phishing is? It's when you send a very targeted email saying, hey, will you call me back, or will you click on this, or open this attachment, and it looks exactly like it came from one of your coworkers or someone you know. But they have just kind of barely changed the URL in a way that you just read right over. Like they might use an R and an N instead of an M, or a 1 instead of an L. It's really scary, and it actually has happened to us that people have made email addresses that are like my boss's name or our board president's name, but it's a totally different email address. And they're trying to they email everyone on staff. And this is happening to news organizations too. So if any of this happens, just look so carefully at all of the clues that you can, whatever information you have. Check the URL, check for bylines or anything like that on an article. A lot of the like real fake news stories don't have bylines. They don't cite any sources. Also, this is happening now too, that bad actors out there are trying to plant stories. I'll show you a couple examples. This is the worst part to me, the worst. And think about, does it seem too good to be true? That these people are talking about this. Does it seem like, oh my God, this is like a huge story that I'm on now? So again, like just your own gut and intuition is super, I mean, that's what's gonna really save you here. This is a small daily newspaper in North Carolina. I don't remember their circulation, but it is a small rural newspaper. And someone, they still don't know who to my knowledge, someone emailed all of the media in this town and planted a fake event. And it was a 4th of July concert with a real band, the real name of a real band, and they acted like it was a press release. And some of the media ran with it. And as far as the police theory at the time at least was that they were really worried that this person had planted an event to get people in an area and like do something bad. Like, oh, we're gonna have a concert and people show up and then who knows what. None of that actually happened, and I don't know really why this person did it. It might have just been like someone messing around. You don't know. Just be wary of everyone. And this example I think was like the most horrifying to me. And then this one, this is my hometown where I live now, my paper, Kansas City Star. They did a story on a St. Louis paper being sued, which if you knew the rivalry there, it was pretty funny. But this St. Louis reporter, several people emailed him that the Missouri governor who resigned in disgrace, blah, 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 that he was going to run for Senate, I think it was. So all these people were emailing this reporter and he ran with it. They were all fake emails. Made up by someone just trying to plant a fake story, mess with him. So this guy, he wasn't, I feel really bad for him actually because he wasn't a politics reporter, and he's like, I wondered why people were emailing me, and I just didn't check it out, basically. So, are you guys sufficiently terrified? Steven?
Just going to point out when you're talking about these people following, there have been a variety of incidents reported lately. The New York Times had one not too long ago by the Chinese using LinkedIn to follow foreign service folks, trying to keep track of them and cozy up to them through LinkedIn. But Qatar, I think it was Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and someplace else, were using Facebook and other social media to follow journalists specifically. So they were creating fake accounts to monitor journalists and then using the story stuff. In some cases, just on top of what was out, and in other cases to actually try to, as you were pointing out, use that information to push out bad information, try to manipulate it.
That's so scary. And as journalists, we're on social media, we're building our brand, and we're, talking about our stories, and
Want to try to push those people along.
Yeah.
Non-people along.
yeah, be wary of everyone. So some tools to dig through social media and find people's posts, or like try to determine whatever you can about them. We're gonna go through some tools. I'm gonna start with Facebook, but here's the thing. You see how I have stricken through almost everything on here? there used to be some really, really cool tools to search Facebook. And do you guys remember graph search, or that term that Facebook used? It was a few years ago that they were like, hey, there's this super cool tool that we're gonna open to everybody because we know so much about people. We know like where, you tell us where you live and the bands that you like and, groups that you're in. And we're gonna let people, instead of just having to search by name, you could find like people who live in Kansas City and they belong to group X or Y or whatever. And it was really cool and useful for reporters, and some very smart people built these kinds of tools that allowed you to search that easier. I think it was early June of this year that Facebook basically shut all of that down. They changed their search and none of these tools work anymore. So the reason they are on here and the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't know, they might come back, right? Like things can change, and so I left them on there that like maybe you can use them someday. Like Intel Techniques, actually this dude, Michael Bazell is his name, and he has books about open source intelligence and finding information about people online. He shut down his whole site because he had been threatened so much, I guess, by Facebook, but maybe it comes back someday, maybe he wins that. Graph.tips is the only thing that is like trying to work these days, so I left that on there. It's run by a guy named Hank Van Ness who lives in Amsterdam and is a like citizen sleuth. And I actually was just at one of his trainings, and he showed how to search Facebook that was, you have to basically build a formula that's a URL. Have you seen this, David? And it's like this long, and that search might work, it might not, and it's probably good for like 24 hours. Like it's incredibly, incredibly difficult to do this stuff now. So Facebook, I don't know, does anyone have any Facebook searching tips? Because the way they've shut down so much, and it's obviously in response to all of their privacy concerns, and kind of again, as a person on Facebook and in the world, I like that, but as a reporter, it sucks. But does anybody have any like good tips or luck that they've had with Facebook? Do you guys even find Facebook useful anymore?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you just straight up search for a person and try to find them?
That, location, maybe posts.
Yeah, just straight up searching for a person and seeing what they put out there that's not locked down.
Right.
Yeah. I will say, if you're going to use these tools, a key to doing it is you have to find the person first, and then find their Facebook username, which is after the like facebook.com. I'm Denise Mallon. Some people might be a number, but that's a key way to use those tools if they come back and if you want to use them. Twitter is in many cases much easier to find information, fake and real, and people fake and real. But I do want to show you guys a couple of things with this. Do you guys use Twitter a lot, especially probably breaking news? Yeah, trying to find people to see what's going on in a situation. This is a great list of how to use Twitter search. And it's kind of like Google where there's all these different operators, but I love this. I would like print this out and keep it because you can search for like people who have a lot of followers or have a lot of retweets. You can find photos. You can use all these different operators to search Twitter that are really cool. And when you're doing that, think through the language that a real person would use. If they were actually witnessing something or in a situation. These terms are all from firstdraftnews.org, by the way, which is an organization that helps journalists verify information. But think through, if you're seeing some kind of incident, you would use the words like I and me, like I've seen this, I am witnessing this, oh my gosh. I can't believe it, I just witnessed, just now, I'm in shock. Damn dude is my favorite. This is crazy, scared, OMG. And that's like the real natural language that people use. And the bots might be onto this now, but A lot of times it's kind of more stiff language, or they forget to say I or me or something like that. So this is a better way to find real people in a situation. And this is a cool video actually that walks you through, if you want to find information in a certain area on Twitter, or find tweets from a certain area, there's a few steps to follow. So watch this video and then we'll look for some tweets like in our area or something. But this walks you through what to do. So you guys will have this to refer back to as well. So first step, go to Google Maps and find the actual location. So this is an example from Austin. And this is like a pizza place. Right click on it, go to what's here, and get the actual latitude and longitude of that location. It's kind of hidden on Google Maps to find that. And there's a formula to plug into Twitter, which is geocode : search terms, which is your latitude and longitude. And then your radius around that point. So like right now she's searching for everything that's within 0.05 miles of this pizza place, every tweet that is public. And then you go to latest. And there were people like having birthday parties there and stuff, which is like normal stuff at a pizza place. But in a breaking news situation, stuff could be going on there, right? Stuff could be going on. All right, so maps.google.com. Do you guys want to we could just do kind of where we are, I suppose. Where are we? We can just do, let's do, this place is having a concert. So the Masquerade, anyone been there?
Many years ago.
All right, so you right click on it and go to what's here. And you get the actual latitude and longitude that you copy. And then on Twitter, search bar, you hit geocode : the key to making this work is no spaces between anything. Commas, but no spaces. So everything there, and we'll just do like within 1 mile. And we can go to latest, and it's like,
So you just put like
concert
concert
stuff.
period and then one or NI for that?
Yeah, let me make that bigger, because that's really, that is hard to see.
Oh, it's comp.
Yeah. So latitude, longitude, geocode : latitude, comma, longitude, comma, 1 mile or 0.5 miles or however many miles with in mind on it. And that's how you do a search with just the Twitter bar to see everything going on in there. And this is like what we would expect really with like concert stuff in that location, but it's a good way to just see like, are there real people in the area and what are they saying without using any fancy or expensive tools. Does anybody use Banjo? Or Geophidia?
We used to use Banjo.
You used to use Banjo? Yeah, I don't know how widely used it is anymore. It's really expensive.
Yeah, we kind of got away from Banjo for a little bit, and now we're kind of branching over into Tagboard, which is really similar to Banjo, just
Okay.
it's got a little bit more bells and whistles to it.
Okay, interesting. I'll have to check that one out. I know these things change all the time, right? Banjo, for anyone who hasn't used it, or similar things, they actually keep tabs on social media postings by location, and they have algorithms that will tell them like, ooh, there's an anomaly over here. So it will like send you an alert, like something's happening in your town, right? Is that a good summary?
Yeah, they would shoot you an email and say, car accident reported, in this area. And it may or may not actually be a car accident, but there might be a cop there, or a couple of cops there in an ambulance. So I feel like we used it a lot more for severe weather in other parts of the Southeast or the U.S. It's great for holidays, any kind of holiday really. National breaking news or national just sort of reactions to yeah, breaking news, national news, international news. So
Yeah.
you could search a worldwide map, which was nice. You could just zoom into one part of the country or the world if you knew that's what you were, the area you were looking at. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
nice.
cool. And it pulls public posts from all the different social media, right? Yeah.
So for this Twitter search, does the user have to have their locations on?
Yeah, great point. So location search is only as good as, like everything we talk about, only as good as the information that gets put into it. And if you use Twitter, you know that you don't have to have your location on. And so if you don't, it doesn't know that. It doesn't know your location. Great point. Yeah. It's, and I mean, it's only public posts, right?
Right, of
Anybody-
course. So
yeah.
it's a very small, most people don't have the location.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all of this stuff is like, if people are very aware of their privacy and their settings, which people are becoming more sophisticated about, I feel like, it's in the news a lot, then yeah, like there's no, you can't like search their locations or their private, I mean, can't search their private tweets. But it can give you an idea, this is kind of like the poor man's banjo, right? The free version of searching by location to try to get an idea of if something big is happening, especially, there's going to be public posts in that area. It doesn't take the place of getting out of the office, obviously, but can help you get an idea of what's going on out there. Some additional tools for Twitter, these are more like, so instead of searching for like a specific location, this is getting an overview of a person's profile. So if you're trying to judge like, is this a real person? Or who do they interact with? Or what are they like? These are the tools to use. My favorite is the first one, account analysis. This is a free tool that is a great overview of an account. It runs several different like calculations for you. So I'll just analyze myself, which again, I'm not super interesting on Twitter on purpose. But it gives you a great idea. Like this is when I tweet. You can see I am basically a workday tweeter. I only tweet about work. This is all of the my tweets by date. This is only like 2019. These spikes, I'm sure, are our conferences when I tweet a lot and people tweet at me. If you go back in time, you'll see my biggest spike is October 2015 when the Royals went to the World Series. It was like the time of my life. You can see who I interact with, like who I retweet and what hashtags I use a lot. So this is where you can see, is a person just like literally using every hashtag of the day, right? Or do they seem more like a real person with different things? All of mine are work or baseball related. People I interact with, and my last tweets are down here. My latest tweets. So it's a good overview without scrolling through everything. If you do want to see all of their tweets, all my tweets is my fave. And it's literally all of a person's tweets, but in a way that's so much easier to gather them and read through them. They're basically all plain text tweets. So you can even copy these. See how much easier that is? This is all my tweets.
Oh, wow.
So if you wanted to see like someone's entire history, this is so much easier and better than scrolling through everything. And I know it's really small, so you can't see what I'm talking about, but you can see I've really upped my emoji game on Twitter. A couple other things on here. Twitter audit, how many fake followers do they have? So it runs these algorithms on like all these red flags that we're looking for here, like do they have numbers in their name and a real profile or whatever? It runs those to see, or to try to gauge how many fake followers you have. Super fun thing to run for reporters. Or like your news organization's handle, for example. I'll let you guys play with those later. It's my favorite Twitter sleuthing story. Do we have any basketball fans? 2 too. Do you guys remember this story about the coach of the Philly 76ers, and there were all these weird, mysterious, anonymous tweets about, like, basically talking smack about his players. And they started to give, like, a lot of information, insider basketball information. People became really suspicious, and this reporter for The Ringer tracked down, it was like his wife, the coach's wife, was making these tweets. And it was all these, he walks through his reporting process. This is a great read. Great read. Okay, LinkedIn and finding people on there and finding their emails and their phone numbers and all of that. LinkedIn is, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. It's probably the one I'm most, or like least active on, honestly. But a lot of people are very active on it, and but they post things and they post about their jobs and network. So there's a couple of tools I will recommend to you here. It is a really great way to find people, try to track them down. LinkedIn for Journalists has been a journey, and the wind has blown in several different directions here. That is anybody a member of LinkedIn for Journalists or gotten this benefit? Yeah. It's a free premium account for journalists to LinkedIn, so it allows you to have more search tools and be able to, really filter and find people. And they went through a phase where they were, like, you had to write a certain number of stories, and then, like, they had to verify you, and you had to work for, like, national media and all this stuff. It was really weird. Apparently they're going to open it back up now, so I don't know. You have to, I'm kind of skeptical, but we'll see. You do have to sit through a webinar, and pro tip, sit through the whole thing. I have sat through this webinar, and some people left early, and she even, like, said on the webinar, like, those people are not going to get in.
How long was the webinar?
It's like an hour. I mean, it's not that long. For a free premium
You have
version.
to do it every year, though.
Every year, there you go. I had to quit because I'm not a practicing journalist, and so I haven't been in it for a while. So. Still though, for how much is that worth, a free premium account? It's worth an hour of your time. This tool right here, Lucia, is my favorite plugin on my computer. It's like a browser plugin for Chrome, probably Firefox too. But when I go to LinkedIn, I have Lucia on. There she is. This is her face right here. And if you find a person, like, we'll just click on Juan Garcia here. And if you click, so you find the person, then you click on Lucia, and she will say, this is even without having premium or anything, she'll say, hey, would you like to know Juan Garcia's phone number and his email and everything? And you get, I think it's 3 free a month or something, if you don't pay for Lucia, but just a great, like, she'll scrape all of their information for you. My favorite email tool, by the way, let me show you guys this. Has anyone used Hunter.io? So there was Lucia for scraping from LinkedIn, and I think she scrapes from Twitter too, but Hunter is a tool for marketers to be able to get like tons of emails. But if you sign up for a free account, you can find people's emails by, you have to know their domain is the key. Like, you have to know, Denise works for IRE.org, what is her email? So you would just start with searching IRE.org. And then it's like, here's everyone we know of that has that domain. It's so small. So like, here's all of my coworkers and former coworkers, and basically everyone who's ever worked at IRE, which is a nice list anyway, plus everyone's emails. And then you can export it, whatever you need, or you can search for a particular person. So if you're looking for someone in a company, for example, some photo stuff here. Do people send you guys photos? of like breaking news events or pajama parties, for example. This was a real photo that this guy is the congressman that I referenced earlier, Blake Randall, in the ducky pajamas. And this was actually a photo that was on billboards all over town, and it was everywhere before the election. The woman there is not his wife. He is married, but that's not his wife. It was a lingerie party for charity, whatever. Or like pajama party, whatever I'm gonna call it. But any photo that people send you, or any photo that you find online, or even people's profile photos, run them through a reverse photo search. Just like, that's your first line of defense. Because you don't know where that photo has been, you don't know if it's real, and these are some clues that you can do. So we'll get to the reverse photo search. First, check the exit data. Any photographers in the room? What's the exit data? Anybody want to tell us?
Like the metadata.
So,
So
yeah.
the camera, when it was shot, where it was shot sometimes, just all the data that your camera collects when you click a photo.
Yeah, your camera or your phone collects so much information about that photo. And if it's a legit photo, you should get some kind of decent information about it. So metadata connected to the picture. So I'll show you guys what metadata should look like. It's my professional staff photo from our website. Get a photographer, take it. And so if you go to one of these free tools here, you can just choose the file and upload your picture. And it's tons and tons of information about it, like the date it was taken, even the camera he had, that he ran it through Photoshop Lightroom to clean up my face, whatever he did. Super detailed, right? If you have a photo that someone maybe screenshotted online, or they pulled it off of social media, maybe they stole it from someone else, or they otherwise messed with it, I'm going to show you. I actually pulled the pajama photo offline. It might look something like this. Like, that is it. It only sees like the size of the photo and the type of, it's a JPEG. So be wary if your metadata looks really skimpy like this. Now, if the story they told you is like, oh my God, look what I found on someone's social media, it might look like this, that might be legit. You gotta like triangulate all of this.
If someone takes one with a smartphone though, you were saying that if they're sending you the first person photo, it should have a lot.
It should. Including location a lot, I think. Does anybody have a lot of experience with mobile pictures? Also, check visual clues. Like, you gotta check out the story that people are telling you. And does this photo make sense? Like, does it look like it was taken at that time of day or that location? Use Google Maps to, Street View to go there and see if where they say the picture was taken. Use weatherunderground.com to look at historical weather data for that day. Like, was it really cloudy? Do your sleuthing. Here's the reverse image searches that are great. So just Google images at this link, images.google.com. And you can either use an image URL or you can upload it. And just see if there's similar photos online, right? This is every single storm, like every single flood, every hurricane, there's the sharks in the water.
Yeah.
Or like, there's all kinds of tornado images that get used a lot, whatever. This, you can look at visually similar images, for example, and see where something has been. My favorite image, actually, that's similar is this one, which is him getting sworn into Congress, which is great. 10i is a different one to try. I'm now going to talk a little bit about videos really quickly because this is like the new frontier of fake everything, right? It used to be like, okay, we know we're skeptical of photos, but if it's on video, someone really said it. But not so much anymore, right? Deep fakes is the term that people use to talk about these types of videos. And this is an example of a deep fake that researchers made. This is coming to where these can be faked by bad actors that they'll explain to you what they're doing, but it's Obama giving a speech and they make a fake Obama say it. Different Obama, basically.
Given this audio as input,
It's been less than a week since the deadliest mass shooting in American history.
our method produces the following output.
It's been less than a week since the deadliest mass shooting in American history. And foremost in all of our minds has been the loss, the grief felt by the people of Orlando,
Here's the ground truth video of Obama saying the same words.
especially our friends who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. I visited with the families of many of the victims on Thursday, and one thing I told them is that they're not alone.
So that's
People and people all over the world are standing with them.
So that was real Obama on the left, fake Obama on the right, saying the same words. There's not a whole lot of tools to combat this yet that are like, you know, checking the EXIF data or checking, running it through a reverse video search or something like that, because that is not here yet. There were some stories this summer about researchers building an algorithm that could find deepfakes at like a 90% rate, and they refuse to release the tool because they don't want people knowing how it's combated. Anyway, it's all changing all the time, but your best defense really is taking a video, slowing it down, and looking at everything. Looking at like every frame by frame if you have to. There's deepfakes, and there's also just people staging videos, which is probably the bigger concern right now, that people will stage something and try to pass it off as real to a news organization. So those of you, well actually those of you in all newsrooms of all kinds probably have way better tools than I have to slow videos down. But this is an example of, this is a super, super short video. Super short. But it was one of these viral things. And I want you to, I'm gonna do it in real time first and then slow down so you can look for issues. Multiple issues with this video. This is a girl in like a storm. You guys want to see it again? Yeah. It's really short and fast. Any? It comes from the wrong direction. Who said that? You have such good eyes. You have such good eyes. The fish is actually coming, so the wave is like behind her and the fish is like coming from a different direction, is one problem. Even just like,
Even that freeze frame, she like freaks out way before, like her face, it's almost like she's freaking out that it hit her before it hit her.
like she knows a fish is coming
Yeah.
at her face before we see it. Also, I'm not sure the context of this. I think the context was supposed to be that she's like a reporter. Does she even seem like a reporter in any way? No, like she doesn't even have like, be wearing a blog and yeah, you would have all your branded gear, right, and your microphone, and you probably wouldn't be screaming and gesturing wildly like that. So just context clues. This is the video. It's slowed down. This is a free tool I used, Capwing. So it slowed down the video but not the audio, so it just looks weird. Just watch the video part. It is really good in slow motion. Yeah, you can see a lot more clearly when it's slowed down, just like the different directions. And then Snopes actually also looked at this frame by frame, and they said that the fish, you can tell it's actually dead, like gutted, basically, when it was thrown at her. So this lady did stand out there and have a fish thrown in her face, which is funny enough, but the story wasn't true, you know, that it was all staged. So here's lists of resources again. The verification checklist that we have is the tools that we just went through. There's all of these verification handbooks. There's First Draft is the organization I mentioned that is a nonprofit literally dedicated to teaching journalists how to combat misinformation online. They are super cool. And they have these online courses, and they have a guide for photos and videos that would be great to just like print those, keep them at your desk, and use them as needed. Bellingcat, this is their toolkit. Bellingcat is an international ring of citizen journalists who are really, really good at online sleuthing. And the guy who I mentioned who makes the Facebook tools, he's a member of this. This is their online toolkit of like satellite photos and maps and social media and a million different tools, and it's a Google Doc so they keep it updated. It's another great thing to bookmark. And here's all of the different tools I mentioned that you can add to Chrome or Firefox are on here. And then this is just, does anyone listen to Reply All, the podcast? It's a technology podcast, and this was my favorite episode ever about social media sleuthing and like the dark web and hackers and stuff. Just, it's a great listen. It starts with a woman calls them because her Snapchat handle has been stolen. And this dude like texts her these really creepy messages about it, and they track him down, like track down hackers on the web and like talk to them. It's wild. Just a really good, entertaining read, and it follows all their reporting through all of this weird that. And then a resource about scrubbing political candidates.